Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Jackson Dabney from Dabneytech. I'm joined today by Evan Bozarth and Tyler Doidge from Purple Bee Studios. They are an amazing music studio and event experience. How's it going, guys?
Going great. Good to be
Awesome to
here.
be.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, Jackson. Happy to be here, man.
All right, excellent. So today we're just going to be talking about your experience with starting Purple Bee and how you got into it, and we'll just go from there.
Yeah, I
Sweet.
can I can start. So me and my twin brother Dustin, along with our really good friend Grego Lobos, founded Purple Bee about 6 years ago. It was really a lot. The story goes way further back than that. We've been doing streaming video since we were teenagers, and I'm 47 now. So I've been in this sort of streaming music game since I was a wee lad. The world wasn't really ready for it back then. In the late 90s, early 2000s, we were doing a weekly show out of the Saxon Pub in Austin, and we were streaming it on broadcast.com, which was Mark Cuban's first foray into the. That's where he became a billionaire. He sold out to Yahoo, and anyway, we started doing concerts on the internet, and we were really ahead of our time, too far ahead of our time. And we were like, okay, maybe we this now. We should go back and figure out how to make a living. We made websites, we made logos, we did tons of video stuff over the years, tons of concert video production, and we worked for some other people in their streaming concert companies, and kind of stayed with one foot in the industry for about 15 years. And just so happened that over that time we started getting a little bit burnt out with client work and freelancing, and trying to figure out a way to combine all our skills. Me and Dustin are musicians. Grego's a musician. We would put on parties and campouts and events, and we would call it Purple Bee, and we would call it Grego Fest. And we always would go all out with the production on these things. We'd have full video, and we'd be recording things. And at some point, we're like, man, we should probably turn this into our full-time gig. We put all our skills together, and we maxed out our credit cards, and we rigged up Grego's studio to be this space station of a little pod. It's like a double wide trailer in the sticks outside of Austin. That once you went inside, it was full on TV production studio. And right when we rigged it up, the pandemic happened. And we're like, okay, now everybody needs a place to play besides the bars, because they can't go outside and they want to reach their fans on the internet. So we started inviting all our friends' bands in Austin. Growing up in Austin and playing in the music scene here meant that we knew damn near everybody, and we could immediately start getting them to come in and do shows. And at that point, we started to hone in on what exactly made us different than other live streaming concert companies. There were a bunch of them popping up in the pandemic. And what we thought made us different is that we really put the emphasis on the live moment. The thing that makes live music great is about these moments and about these unexpected things that happen, so we put the emphasis on that, and on staying live. A lot of people would do live streams that were kind of pre-recorded things that they would play back, and sort of they're quasi live, not really live, not really interactive. We went the other direction. We're like all live or nothing, fully interactive. We want the audience to be able to participate in the show by, doing things like donating money to spin a wheel of jam, and it makes the band do certain things, or being able to win stuff, or us throwing curveballs at the band from the control room and making them do fun stuff that was off the cuff and unpredictable. And all those things sort of built into our what we think is our mission now, and it's to capture and curate and facilitate more of these magic moments. And now in the last couple of years, we've added the piece of capturing those moments, not just not just doing them live, but capturing them live onto a recorded medium. And the medium we chose is vinyl. So we're doing live to vinyl recordings, and these artists are coming in without a net. They're recording a full album live in front of an audience and in front of the world, right onto vinyl. We have built a lathe, and it sounds great and it looks great. And then we go and we make a very limited edition run of these vinyls, all by hand, all in our sweatshop here in Valente, Texas. And we give it out to like the lucky fans who were down with our mission and thought that what we were doing was cool enough that they would take a chance on it, and we reward them with something super cool that's like a keepsake, that's a memento from that moment.
Cool. I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit of the screen here so that our fans over in TV land can get a little bit more of an idea of that as well. Tyler, you are also the host here over at Purple Bee. What can you tell us about your experience?
So I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois, and I had moved to Austin, Texas in 2021 post-pandemic, and I had gotten my first experience with Purple Bee actually attending just as a fan. A work friend of mine who ended up being very tightly knit with the crew at Purple Bee had taken me out to that first initial studio in Bastrop, Texas, and I walk in, and the living room is the studio, and I had never seen anything like it, and I knew instantly this was my new favorite spot in Austin, Texas, and the Purple Bee people were just so welcoming, and it was amazing just to see the talent that these musicians brought and all these improvisational focused live shows. Everything was really in the moment. Everything was off of it. There was never a song that you could hear twice because everything was just created right there on the spot. And I, as just a fan, was instantly hooked. And when we had moved locations from Bastrop to Valente, Texas, where we currently are, the stream had upgraded, so to speak, and they were talking about, oh, we need a host, we need somebody really cool to be able to come in and talk to these musicians and to guide the stream, so to speak. And these guys didn't really know that I had sideline experience and some media experience, and it was something that I really wanted to do. And so I kind of followed that same motto of just trying to be live and in the moment. And after the first stream I had done with them, they were like, "Hey, you're the host now." So they welcomed me with open arms, and it was super cool to be able to add, even though I didn't have the musical talent that these guys did. They appreciated my gift of gab, so to speak, to be able to come in and just take people through these immersive, interactive experiences that we offer with the live stream.
Yeah, the other cool thing is that all of us basically moved into this studio in Valente, and we built it together, and we designed it, and we kind of it became our compound. And there's like 4 or 5 of us at any given time that are living on site and working day to day. And it's sort of like a mix between a fraternity and a cult and a summer camp and a incubator startup, all the things. It's a lot of fun, and we've made a lot of progress just kind of like being immersed in it together.
I always like to explain it to people as well, that this Purple Bee acts as almost like a second city for music. It is a place where you can count on discovering somebody who maybe isn't even fully immersed in the scene, but they're going to be a regular name, and we are able to just get that out of people by putting artists on the spot, kind of like Evan said, no net. You come in here and you know that it's not going to just be a run-of-the-mill show. This is going to be something, a little bit of a challenge, and it's going to be something that definitely gives your audience a chance to really be able to make the artist sweat a little bit and see what cool stuff we can come up with live.
Would you say that interactivity of the live stream is a big part of what draws people into tuning in?
I think so. I mean, yeah, it's if you're watching on the internet and you realize that you can not only talk to the artist, you can ask a question, you can make a comment, then they're going to see it. We've built these monitors that the artists get to see. They look like monitor wedges on the speakers on the floor, but they're TV screens, and we have a dashboard view so they can see all the stuff that's going on. Anyone who comments, asks a question, anyone who donates, all that stuff is kind of right there for the artist to see and respond to and react to in real time. So yeah, a user can get the vibe of that real quick, and they kind of know that this isn't some canned, pre-recorded thing. This is some live happening thing, and they can be a part of it.
And also what's interesting too is the fact that the in-studio audience is just as much a part of the interaction as the people online. So I don't think that there's many places, let alone studios in general that can actually connect, the people online with the people inside of the studio. And one of my favorite interactions that we do, aside from just like the Wheel of Jam with improv prompts and things like that for the musicians, is with our Live to Vinyl series, everybody who purchases a vinyl ahead of time, they have up until the end of the stream to purchase that vinyl, and then the actual lathe cut, the one that's being cut in the studio during the show, it is a one-of-one Grail edition of this recording. And so everybody who purchases one of these vinyls is actually then put into a raffle that we announce at the end of the stream of whoever wins that one-of-one Grail vinyl. It is a great way to keep people engaged for the entirety. It's not like, oh, hey, I just want to tune in for just this part of the stream. It's people not only want to hear the vinyl that they just purchased, but they also want to hear, hey, am I going to be able to get this one-of-one? Because it could be somebody here in the studio who wins it. It could be somebody in Arkansas or the Philippines. You never know who is going to be able. It gives the benefit to the person watching. We really try to make it all about them and to get them as connected as what's going on here in studio as possible.
Yeah, we're getting everyone to buy in to like put some skin in the game, right? So we're like it incentivizes everyone on this moment and on this thing that's about to happen. Everyone feels like they're kind of part of taking this risk, this tightrope walk with the band. First of all, the artists that agree to do this that sets them apart from your average artist, right? Because most artists probably wouldn't have the stones to record a full album in one take with no overdubs and no second chances, right? So immediately you're talking about artists who have the guts to try something like that and have the ability technically and are, confidence level to try to pull that off in front of people. And then when a fan says they're going to put their money down for this thing before it's actually been played, before they've heard one note, now they have an incentive to tune in to watch, to show up and cheer that band on, give them their energy, and actually kind of like it raises the stakes, it raises the tension, and it also makes the whole thing feel that much more important. So when it finally goes down on wax and you can hold it and you can play it, and not only that, if you're a fan that wants to spend a little bit of extra money, you can get the deluxe personalized version, which means the band will give you your own personal shout out on your vinyl only. That we encode on it, so we can make each of these vinyls a little bit different, and so we can put an Easter egg in it for that one person. So their disc becomes a one-of-one. They get it in the mail a couple months later. They put it on their turntable, and it says, "Hey Jackson, thanks for supporting this crazy project we did at Purple Bee. This record's for you." And then it plays the record, something like that. So that's super cool and something that we don't think anyone else is doing. And it all plays into this idea that the moment is everything, and the magic of live entertainment and live music is about these moments. And we're just dedicated to making more of them and capturing them and giving people more ways to enjoy them.
Earlier, you said that you guys maxed out your credit cards and then COVID happened. Mm-hmm. Did that jump into streaming that a lot of people went into? Because a lot of people started streaming in COVID. Was that beneficial for you guys financially? Or
yeah, I mean, yeah, right off the bat, all the people who went out to see shows at clubs, they basically had a disposable income budget. If you go out to a Friday night at Antone's in Austin, you're going to pay $25, $30 for the ticket. You're going to pay $50 at the bar. You're going to buy a T-shirt. So if you got a date, you're probably spending a couple $100, right? All these people kind of had that couple $100 burning a hole in their bank account at first, at least. And so all we had to do was give them an opportunity to support these artists that were coming on and playing for them live in their living room and being responsive to them in real time. And they're like, take my money, So it was very easy to get donations and to get bands paid and to sort of pay for the production right away. And we had a really lean operation at that point. Although we had run up the credit cards, like we were doing this with a 3-man crew. And now it's more of like a 6, 7, 8-man crew to do these things in a lot bigger room, lot more overhead, and a lot less demand. But back in the day, it was sort of the wheels were greased. Everybody's ready for it. And the thing about the landscape, everybody coming in and trying to live stream at the same time, not everyone had 15 years of experience doing live streams, and not everyone had gone and bought the equipment and set it up and, technically tested it and squashed all the bugs that were going on, and were ready for it to happen like we were. So it was fortunate in that way. We were just sort of at the right place at the right time, but there was a lot of 15 years of experience that put us there. So it was just serendipity in a way. And then just to hang around this long after the pandemic has also been a testament to, dumb luck in some ways, our intuition in other ways, and also I think our experience and the quality and us knowing what our mission is to stick to what we think is our special sauce and kind of do things our own way. It's also kept us around.
Well, and also too was just Purple Bee was instantly, if you ask any musician or music lover here in Austin, Texas, that they were viewed as almost like a superhero while everything was crashing down, and it's like Purple Bee was still able to somehow manage to give the people of Austin what they longed for, and that was live music. And it also gave musicians the opportunity to continue to play, because that is literally the heartbeat of a lot of people's success here in Austin is the performing of music. It's like, it isn't streams, it isn't tours, it's the local venues that musicians are able to play throughout the week. So when that disappeared, people really saw Purple Bee as this almost like saving grace to be able to continue to do their craft and get it in front of people, even if crowds weren't an option at the time.
So after the streaming age of everyone being on stream and going back to live music, how did that affect your guys' financials and transitioning into what it is now?
We've had to pivot 25 times at this point, but the thing is, we know who we are, we know what we do well, and that's we can produce video and audio at a very high level. And we can also give artists a really comfortable place to perform, and so that they usually deliver their best performances in the environment that we create. So like having those things as sort of something to fall back on has been great, because people trust us, artists trust us, they're willing to try new ideas with us, and we're always coming up with new ideas. We're doing a show tomorrow called the Groove Lab, which is like I would call it our testing ground for a lot of these ideas. It's all improvised. It's basically a house band of the crew playing instruments with a bunch of local badass musicians, revolving cast, and we'll try all sorts of interactive things. And a lot of that stuff ends up making it into our Purple Bee live show with touring, well-known artists and stuff like that. So we're able to just experiment and stay flexible. And, we're at the point where in my lifetime, the music business has basically been broken and it has never been fixed. And every time you see a new wave of technology come along, it's usually not to benefit the artist. It's usually to benefit, some corporation or some tech company or, some people record label execs, so I think that we fight for the common man. We're artists ourselves. We're never going to try to exploit artists. We're always going to be equitable with artists. And we're trying to hang around long enough to take enough shots at this thing to keep coming up with ideas. As the times change, we're going to keep leaning on what's real and what's true to us. And that's like the power of live music is universal. And we think that we can come up with new ways and exciting ways to present it to people, to let them be interactive with it, and to capture it on artifacts that we can let people keep and take with them. So like that's sort of, I think that mission is timeless. We can roll through the changes, technology and all this stuff, and we can keep that mission going. And I think that, if we haven't already hit on the magic bullet, then we will hit on them as we go. We'll hit on many over the years if we hang around long enough.
And I also think that, the community of Purple Bee has been so amazing and supportive, just like the entire city of Austin is towards musicians. I mean, we've proven that we can crowdfund an album for an artist. Artists aren't able to usually, vinyl isn't as accessible to the everyday artist as a lot of people may think. So the fact that within a night you can get an entire grade A production, video, audio wise, also open it to the public for people to actually come in and view, and then pay for an album that isn't even created yet. It's cool that we've been able to prove the concept with the community of not just fans and musicians, but now we're just trying to prove it to the sponsors of the world, to the people who are going to say, you know what, we love what you're doing, Purple Bee. Here's some money so you can go get bigger artists, so people can come in and explore this concept, and somebody, you know, with a huge name or a huge presence will see Purple Bee as this must go to spot in Austin to go do this live to vinyl, this our kind of signature series. So as far as finances go, the people have proven to us that they're willing to give us their money because they believe in the authenticity and our mission and our direction. And now at this point, I feel like we're really seeking other people to take a shot on us, whether it be sponsorship or some type of creative collaboration with other people in the live streaming space and beyond.
Yeah, we're looking for artists that are in a higher echelon that already have the type of super fans that might activate a lot of the mechanisms we've already built in a way that sort of like makes them even more, you know, we're making scarce artifacts, right? So this vinyl, if there's only up to 100 of them made, then that's a pretty scarce artifact. If you take an artist that has enough of a fan base that all those 100 vinyls sell out instantly, you know, then you create things like a secondary market or, you know, collector's market that it would be interesting for us to see how that goes with this project, and how we would, like, what would we do differently if that was the case, and what would this look like if a band like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard came on Purple Bee and used the exact mechanisms that we've created. How would that go with their fan base versus a band that's amazing and up and coming but doesn't have necessarily the type of fan base that will instantly sell out 100 vinyls at $75 or $100. That's where we're trying to play at this point, and a lot of that has to do with us getting enough market share and eyeballs and followers to know what we're doing and to trust us and to take a chance on the things we're doing, to attract the bigger artists, bigger sponsors, brands that want to be a part of this, and also we want brands that would be interested in underwriting the vinyl production, for instance. You know, if a brand wants to be a part of this risk-taking magic, you know, experience, they could help the band out by basically funding a stack of records that we press up and give to the band to sell at their merch table or things like that. We're looking for ways for brands to participate in this and sort of attach themselves to our mission, which is like, it's about taking risks. It's about doing things in the moment. It's about the magic moments. You know, I think that's kind of a universal thing that we can play up, and eventually we're hoping to snowball the whole thing. We get enough eyeballs, enough people seeing the thing, that we want brands that we have brands that want to participate with us, and then things start to rise from there.
Okay. Aside from consistently creating content and having your show, how do you spread your message out and get brands and potential sponsors and partnerships to find out about your project and interested in it?
This year is when we're going to take a big push at our post-production team. Basically, we're not going to call it a content calendar. We call it more like a moment architecture. And that is to sort of identify in our archive of 250 to 300 shows, and each one of them being 2 or 3 to 4 hours long. That's thousands of hours of content where we have proven this concept of mining these magic moments and facilitating these magic music moments and improvised off-the-cuff things and unexpected moments. We have thousands of them hidden in our archives right now, and it's since we're a tiny team, we haven't really had the manpower to go back and pull those out on a systematic level and create short form content from it. But that's what we're going to do this year. This is where the current technology with AI is going to be something that facilitates us to do a lot of that. It still takes human beings to sort of have the taste to know what are the right moments to to pull out, but a lot of the heavy lifting as far as sifting through things and getting at least a couple levels deep will be done by AI. And we'll end up with a bunch, like a pile of examples of exactly what we're talking about. Like, what do we mean when we say magic moments or cultivating moments or taking live music moments and immortalizing them on vinyl? All of those things, we can pull out multiple examples and make TikTok reels and Instagrams and smaller format, YouTube stuff, and start to drop these nuggets on people. And by and large, the population has a 15-second attention span, and we've been creating these things that are 3-4 hours long, right? So we need to start going and hitting the people with the 15-second attention spans and start to get them to realize that there's some magic happening over here at Purple Bee, and enough of them will come over and start to take in our full live show. And if they don't, we'll give them the highlights the next week. We'll get it'll show up in their feed. So that's that's sort of our strategy to get our eyeball numbers up this year. And we're just now getting into that, but I think we're doing good so far. My brother Dustin has been instrumental in this. He's the kind of the technical director at Purple Bee, and he's a programmer and a developer by trade. He's basically building his squad, his arsenal of AI agents to operate in the way that he wants them to. And we're being careful to keep that stuff in the technical realm and not to outsource our human voice and our human creative output with AI. But we're going to keep it in this technical realm that'll help us facilitate our business goals and help make it where we can focus on our zone of genius, which is being creative in the moment and helping these artists create amazing stuff. And the AI bots will help us stay focused on that, basically.
Well, and also I think the biggest mission is helping not only brands, but just the everyday person understand. I think our mission's easy to understand, but I think when you have a great idea, it's awesome. This live to vinyl thing, it's new. There's not a lot of people doing it, but man, is it hard to get people to grasp it. When you're doing something so cool and kind of something so out of the box, there's a hip hop series that I personally basically do here with Purple Bee, and I put my own money into it because it's something I truly believe in. And there was an artist, Planet Asia, who had come out, and he comes into the live room, live on the show, and he looks at the vinyl and he goes, is that the vinyl? Is that what we just cut? And I'm like, yeah, man, that's the grail. That's what we're giving away. And he's like, can I have it? And I was like, no, man. I was like, so this guy who had just literally made this entire album with us, even he was kind of like at the end was like, what is that? It just goes to show you that it makes sense to us, but making it make sense to everybody else in this short kind of like, how do we get people to understand what we're truly doing? Because it's like I've said live to vinyl to people before, and then it isn't until 15 minutes later in the conversation they're like, so you're actually putting it on the vinyl. And so it's like it's a lot to digest, and that's kind of, I think, the biggest challenge too, is just giving people the understanding of what we're doing, because it isn't very common and it isn't seen very often.
Right. A lot of that happens also with the audience in the room. If they're at the show, we stop the show and we say, okay, the band's going to make a record now. You guys ready? And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're ready. Half the people get it and the other half are like, oh, cool, okay. And then they see us actually dropping the needle on the lathe as the band plays their first song, and they see it cutting out the groove of the thing and making this record. And then it starts to click in people's head. And it wasn't until that moment and that visual aid that they really get it. And then people get more and more excited and more, it's just like that amps up the energy and the importance of that moment.
Yeah, I could see that. You're like, we're making a record. It's like, yeah, you guys are right on, but you don't really understand it's literally happening.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it's become cliche to talk about live and in the moment and all these things. They're just kind of buzzwords to a lot of people. And I mean, maybe I'm drinking my own Kool-Aid or whatever, but we live that Like that's what we're not messing around with those buzzwords. We're like living this stuff, right? That we are putting our lives on the line for the moment, you know? It's real to us.
So for developing this from like where you guys started off, which is like some friends that all have a passion for art and media, right? And taking that from like having a collection of toys that you like to play with to turning it into a real business. What's been like working good for you, and like what's been like more difficult and frustrating about that process?
Uh, I mean, what's been working good is just collaborating with people. Every time we do this, we collaborate with a new group of people, and then we also iterate on our internal crew every time we do it. And so it's just a chance to get tighter and tighter and to tweak things and to having a studio where your stuff is set up all the time versus having to go to a new venue every time you do a show and have this travel rig that you set up and you have to troubleshoot. You know, that's one way of doing it. We do a lot of that too, but having our space that's installed, and every time we do a show, we get make a few little minor tweaks, and it starts to really dial in a couple years into that process. Same thing with the people involved. Like every time you do a show with the crew gets a little tighter and a little more of a unit, and you eventually bring in more people, and our squad starts to grow. Like that whole part of it has been amazing and fulfilling to see unfold in the community we build, not only with artists but with production people, has been super cool to see happen. So for me, that's the plus side. Like the hardest part probably is just the way that we're in the music industry and it's hard. Bands don't have money. Artists, you know, generally speaking, 99% of artists out there, even if they're world-class artists, they're not making much money. They're barely getting by. So to rely on them for our paycheck is not necessarily a good business move, right? So we're always looking for a different angle. And more these days, we've been relying on the fans and their generosity and their fandom with that particular artist to be able to make the machine run. That's also has its limits, you know. We can only tap those fans out so much before they're just like, okay, we can't give any more. So we're always looking for different ways to make that equation add up.
I think one of the good things and one of the best things that we do is creating value. I think that personally Purple Bee has created one of the highest value live music experiences, whether you're viewing online, whether you're in the audience, whether you're the musician. There's so much, there isn't a single other concert or live music event that you can go to that gives you the value no matter what part of the production you are. But I think that conveying the value to people and getting the eyes on it to people that's the difficult part. It's being able to kind of take all of this amazing stuff that one Purple Bee show is and being able to convey it to somebody and explain why it's valuable. And that's where the artist and their personal connections with their fan base, it comes into play, because if the artist understands the value, they understand the concept, then they're able to display it to their fan base. And we don't have to be a tiny desk where our audience is going to just get the eyes automatically. It really is a combined effort. This artist has to kind of take this leap of faith with us in order to maximize their return on the live show, because the people of Austin are spoiled. Austin music scene is one of the most vast that you can be a part of. There's a show you can see any day of the week, and you can see some of the best musicians in the world at any moment at any point of the year. So that has been the hard part, is conveying, you know, the value and convincing people, why am I going to go drive, you know, 20, 30 minutes outside of the city of Austin to go to Valente, to go to Purple Bee to see this live to vinyl. I think that's been the harder part for us. And I think that with our collaborations with, you know, brands and other people, it's going to help us show people, you know, it'll give us the credibility and give people the idea of what the value is that we're bringing, because we already have it. It's just getting the eyeballs and getting it in people's brains so they think Purple Bee, they think live to vinyl, and it is more so of like, oh yeah, of course we know about that. That's a staple here in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of value, like for an artist that needs an up and coming artist that needs a record, they need music on Spotify, and they need physical music to sell at their gigs, and they need content to promote themselves, like video and audio content for the socials and all the things. To put all that together is a big undertaking and a not cheap undertaking. And we're sort of offering this shortcut in a way. We're saying we're going to do a live show. If you're a good live band and you have your act together and you can put on a show, come to Purple Bee, work with us on that show, go with us on the format as far as challenging you to do things in the moment and make a record live on the spot. If you can do all those things and you're game for that, you're going to come away with a record, a full multiple hours long, multi-camera, multi-track recording that you can chop up into a lot of different pieces, and it can become a ton of different short form content pieces for you. And as you put out the record, each single would have a video that goes along with it, and you can, so all these different pieces of content from one night of not even work, but play essentially. And on top of that, instead of paying us up front for that service that we provide, we're going to make some revenue streams with you, and we're going to partner with you on that show 50-50, and we're going to prosper together. So it's, in a way, I feel like that is a undeniable deal for an artist that needs that type of stuff. And a lot of artists are very thankful because there's not a lot of other places you can get that. It's an incredible value.
And Evan hates when I say it, but I like to refer to us as a decentralized record label. We're like an independent record label that is able to literally give you more content than any one day of filming can ever give an artist, and you're going to leave with that. It's not, you're not going to go play a pub or a bar in town and leave with a couple $100 and then that show for the night. You're literally leaving with something that you can use for as long as you see fit, and show people new things, give people a live version of your album. We're giving them the ability, if you just dropped an album, you can come and record a live deluxe version of that at Purple Bee, and now you have just double the ways to promote your album and promote what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know about decentralized, but I'm with you on the rest of it.
Yeah.
Well, I've been calling it a meta label, which is, I don't know. We're just thinking of this as, if we're a record label, we're not like any other record labels of the past. Like, we're coming at it from a different angle. We're creating things on a smaller scale, and instead of trying to get 1 million Spotify plays, we're trying to sell 100 vinyls. It's a completely different ball game. But the thing is, each one of the fans that buys one of those vinyls, that's a true fan. That's a super fan. That's someone who's not messing around with that artist. They're in it for life, and they've got that keepsake that they can show off to their friends and, hang on their wall or whatever, or sell on eBay for a bunch of money down the road. It's different than a Spotify play.
You said you're selling, you're doing $100 records instead of trying to sell 1 million CDs, which obviously the 1 million CDs thing is dinosaur era now.
Well, we might be bringing CDs back. What I was comparing to was artists trying to get 1 million Spotify plays, which I think equals like $1,000 or some bullshit, right? It's like,
if that,
it's ridiculously low amount of return on a buttload of plays. So what if you could make $10,000 by selling 100 vinyls to 100 super fans, right? It sort of changes the equation and makes you think differently. The way that we're literally making each one of those by hand. We're writing it by hand. We're cutting it by hand in real time. Every time we cut one of these records, it takes the full length of the record to cut the thing. It's not like you can double the speed or something like that. So it's a labor of love, and we put a lot of intention into it. And what you end up with is this artifact that feels like somebody spent some time and love making it. And the artists that put that music down on it, like they were bleeding for that music at that time and that moment in time. It's really captures this like singular moment. And all of that feels completely different than this sort of like accidentally playing somebody's music on Spotify and not even remembering it, or having no value in it at all. It's sort of this passing statistic that means nothing and costs nothing and pays nothing. This is a whole other ballgame from that.
Well, and also I think that we deal with one of our biggest challenges and battles that we deal with is people look at our studio. They look at the broadcast level quality of our audio and our video, and they think they're like, oh, these guys just have a bunch of money. These guys must just like somebody rich is funding this, and this is how they're able to do it. They don't see it as a bunch of guys living at a house on a commune, so to speak, and hand stamping vinyl records and drawing the name, the serial numbers, programming a little NFC chip that goes with each vinyl, so that way it's actually legitimized and authenticized, or whatever you would say for that. It's stuff that is ahead of its time. I mean, during South by Southwest, I heard about Adidas was doing shoes now that are going to have that NFC application, which is something that we've already been doing with our vinyls. So we can see that there's big players in the game that are thinking the way that we're thinking about the value of the physical media and how music industry is trending towards that. People wanting that physical keepsake and people wanting the ability to support artists by purchasing physical media, not just by knowing that they're getting ripped off, even if they stream them 1,000 times on Spotify, that, there's pennies on the dollar that, the artist is going to see from that.
Yeah.
Our mission isn't to get ourselves paid. It really is to pay the artist more than anything. That's something that we're willing to do. It's not necessarily a hit for us. It's an investment to one day build the value, so that way the people who have supported us up to this point really do feel like shareholders in our mission of what we're doing.
Yeah, and the importance of making this keepsake, this artifact, I think puts us in the realm of possibility to make a classic record, right? There's no reason why we can't get a great artist to come in and lay down a great record, one that survives forever, right? One that sort of goes into the history books. There's no reason why we can't make one of those the next time we do it, or make multiple ones. And that's what I'm banking on at this point. Is like we're taking the live moment, the moment itself, which is the magic, but we're stretching it out into this all-time realm of the history books. And the thing about a great song is it lasts forever. It's immortal, and it defies time. So we're playing with time, right? We're so focused on capturing moments, but one of these moments might be captured in a way that it becomes timeless. So like if we can keep playing that game, I think we have a really good chance to achieve those things.
And making something that's like really high quality and immortal is like, you think about certain live recordings of bands that have been pressed into CDs, like there's some that I've listened to time and time again. I'm like, because the live.
What's your favorite live record?
I'd probably got to say Jay Giles Band live at the Fillmore East.
Okay.
That one, like the live version compared to the studio version is just like totally out of this world. I mean, I had a Pink Floyd a live version of the Wall, as well as like the studio one, and I listened to the live one a lot. Yeah, Grateful Dead jams. I mean, there's so many countless numbers of those online.
And the live in Austin, more often than not, the live recordings that most of these artists do are like I said, people in Austin expect a live experience. So I feel like some of these artists are known and are sought after just for their live performances. And it's like I've never even heard the studio versions of all the songs that they play on a weekly basis. It's something that I think that not only just in Austin, but like you said, outside of Austin, there are live versions of these albums that people have a greater appreciation for. And I think that Evan's completely right that one day, if we find the right person, it's gonna resonate, and it's gonna be the version that people like to listen to.
For growing Purple Bee, like what is the benchmark, or what are the metrics that you're focused on improving the most to grow?
We're really interested in getting people to know about who we are and what we do, just to kind of rely on if they see Purple Bee, they know that these guys are specialize in creating great live music moments and unexpected moments. And if they see their favorite band is playing a Purple Bee show, they're going to tune into that thing and they're going to buy the artifact or whatever we're selling. And they're going to donate to get in on the interactive portions of it. And then I want people to also trust us to serve them music that they don't know, to trust our taste enough to just show up and see who's on Purple Bee this time. I've never heard of them, but they're probably badass. You know, those are the things that I think we can reliably give people, and we just want more people to realize that it's what we're already doing, and come with us on the ride. I think that's the main focus for this year.
And I think that we have built the credibility not only amongst the community that we serve, but we've also built the credibility amongst musicians, not just in Austin, but beyond. We've flown a lot of musicians out to come and do this. It's a big ask. It's a big ask to say, hey, come to this place you've never been and come do this thing you've never done. And, the value is you get in what you get out of it, what you put into it. So I think that the biggest goal too is just going to be to get the eyes and the analytics that will entice, the brands that we use authentically and genuinely every single day, like Roland and different streaming software.
Yeah, let's call them out. Let's call them out right here.
I mean, Stream Deck. I mean, we got ATEM, Black Magic. It's like we're literally we use all of these people. We use all of these brands in a way that if they just knew we were doing it, they would want to support us. But because we don't necessarily have the millions of viewers and we don't have the millions of subscribers, it's really hard to just even get in front of these people and for them to take us seriously. And we've been dedicated to Twitch and to YouTube, and it's like we just want the brands and stuff to see us and to say, I want to be a part of that. I want to support their mission because, a lot of times we couldn't do it without these people. So I think that would be our biggest goal, is to try and actually align with a sponsor more on just a mission basis than what kind of return can you get by putting your name on our stuff.
Yeah, and I would go one step further and say that we're going into an era now where everything is getting more and more synthetic, right? More and more AI created, more and more less and less human. And what we're offering the world is truly a human experience. And we can use all sorts of technology to amplify it and to streamline our operation here. But what we're putting in front of people is human to human connection, and doing it live, and human creativity at its peak, and sort of cultivating that idea is what we're selling. And I think that will become more and more valuable as we move along this trajectory that we're currently on. And so I'm confident that if we keep doing what we're doing, we'll find our audience. We'll attract bigger, better bands, bigger, better brands. All the things that we're talking about will fall into place if we keep doing our thing.
Cool. Yeah, just keep doing it, keep growing it, and get those numbers up. It's the best way to grow.
Yeah.
Last question for you guys. If there's anything that you'd like to share with any people that are interested, the young people that want to get into, having their own studio and media company like this, any last minute tips you'd want to share with them?
Yeah, I'd say book the gig, like do the thing. If you're thinking about doing it, just nowadays it's so easy and relatively inexpensive to get your own setup going. Focus on the audio is what I'd say. If it doesn't sound good, it sucks. The video can be incredible. You could have the best lenses, best cameras, best lighting. If the audio ain't there, then you're done. It's nothing. So we're lucky to have our guy Grego Lobos, who's our engineer, and makes it sound incredible every time. That gives us a huge advantage. And obviously after that, we spend a lot of effort and money and time and resources on making it look good too. But as soon as your audio goes bad, might as well pack it up, because that's the number one thing. Yeah, make it sound good.
I think that the biggest piece of advice I can give to somebody is just never trade anything for authenticity. We've coined a term here, a phrase here at Purple Bee, which is stream like no one's watching. And that is kind of the truest sense of what we do is we are genuine in the sense that whether one person or a million people are watching, we would be doing it. So you need to make content that's true to what you need to make content that you like, not that what you think other people will like, because it will never come off as authentic. People's bull meters are higher than ever with the introduction of AI and stuff like that. Those are the most popular content creators, are the people where the authenticity is undeniable, where you could tell this person would be doing it simply because they want to, not because there is some type of monetary goal or some type of fame that they're going to seek because of it. Those are all hopes of the work and everything that we put in. But if it wasn't an authentic product, if it wasn't true to the team of amazing people that we have and the amazing community of people that support us, we wouldn't even have those things. We wouldn't have that team. We wouldn't have that community if it wasn't a genuine, authentic mission of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and collaborate with people. That's my other tip. Work with your friends, make new friends. Don't be a lone wolf. This is the whole game is collaborating and working with other people and connecting with new people all the time. Share the load. Don't get greedy. It's not pie. There's enough to go around. The best thing we can do is connect with each other as human beings, and as creative human beings, we can make stuff with each other, make stuff together.
All right, those are some excellent tips, and I think it rings true. You just gotta keep doing it, keep making stuff, and do it for yourself. I with my fashion, I just buy clothes that I would want to wear in bulk, and I know other people like it because I think it's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. All right, well, this is Evan and Tyler from Purple Bee. I want to thank you guys again for coming on the show. And those are some great insights.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jackson. Really appreciate you reaching out, man.
All right. You guys have a good one. Aloha.
Aloha, brother.